thank you all for taking out time of your day to join me. First, I want to just ask how all of y'all are holding up. I know this is like a really trying time. We're literally seeing an uprising in the middle of a pandemic. We're literally witnessing history happen right now. So, how are you guys doing?
I've been doing great. I've been one of the people that has like been going to the protests. Like I think we all have. So, it's interesting. Everyone's like wearing masks and like screaming chants. It's kind of cool. It's definitely a time that's like unprecedented.
Yeah. This week I feel better than I did last week. Last week was a lot and hard. I also have gone to a few protests. I went to I went to one of the Breonna Taylor protests / celebrations on her birthday. That one was really tough, and I don't know. I think it's interesting to be in this place where, like, we've been on this journey, we've been on this journey for a while, and to like kind of all now be on the same page and moving in a seemingly positive direction is kind of exciting, I guess. So, yeah.
It's actually, kind of piggybacking off that. It's really interesting how you say we're part of history, because in a lot of ways, you don't really notice the winds of change until you're actually in it and can view it almost like retroactively. But you're absolutely right. Like, what started out as a pandemic and felt like we were isolated within our own like cubicles of our styles of living quickly evolved in the face of like oppression and systematic like downfalls that we banded together and kind of fought for like this greater cause. So to say I am incredibly lonely because I'm isolating at home, but I'm also like kind of inspired by the goodwill and the community that's sort of created and garnered in the idea of this social and political uprising that's, only furthering the conversation and ultimately probably changing the landscape of politics, entertainment. I don't know about you, I can't imagine anything going back to the way it was before the pandemic.
No.
This is it, man. This is the history being written as we're living it. And though it feels like we're kind of just moving at a snail's pace each and every day, we're still moving forward. And that just means the world. So exciting, as Rachel said. Actually a pretty apt sort of statement for it.
Yeah, because things are definitely changing. Like,
I hope so, man.
Yeah. So about Love, Victor. So how did you all, what attracted you to the project? And did you know anything in particular about the book and about the film before you signed on?
So I saw the movie like when it first came out with like some of my friends, and I freaking loved it. And then after that, I found out about the project coincidentally while I was auditioning for another project, and it was in the same casting office. So I walked in, I was like, oh, like this is like cool. That's sick that they're making a spinoff. And then I got the audition for it like within the next few days, and now here we are. So
so I was, I guess, the last one to join the cast, and I'd also seen the movie, later read the book, and I was a big fan of the movie as well, and I was really excited about the way that this story was going to be told with Michael, a Latinx family. I was super interested in kind of, I don't know, that experience and telling that story, and Isaac and Elizabeth, who were on this, like, who write for This Is Us. I love them, and I was just excited to see what they would do with another script. Yeah.
I definitely, similar. I hate that I'm probably just like stealing your answers, but that's what happens when you go last. I mean, Isaac and Elizabeth, you can't really go wrong with their ability to take like a tried and true experience of humanity and put it through the lens of entertainment. Obviously, This Is Us is a phenomenal example, but they obviously created a crew of people that were so appropriate and capable of telling the story that I hope, you'll have to let me know, echoes the sentiment of the movie that spoke so loudly and well to an entire generation and group of people that when I saw they're making a show out of it, it only made sense to try and be a part of it in whatever way you can. But it's funny, when you put it in conjunction with the movie, I feel like if you're able to capture that spark that was present in the film, the idea of discovering yourself and promoting like self-identity in a time of adolescence, it really can't go wrong in terms of trying to, elevate a group of people. So I was like, anything to uplift, anything to bring that to people is just super exciting. At least to me.
Yeah. Without diving too much into spoilers, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but if you could choose one,
man, we can do it right now.
I mean, I'm assuming that most people are probably going to binge this all the way through once it drops, immediately. I think people would do that. But what was your favorite scene personally to film from the series?
The one where Victor dies.
No, that's not in it, guys.
Spoiler alert.
Jason.
Mason just ruins the whole series.
Hey, you never know. Maybe that's why I go last.
There's something I missed.
Well, I think my favorite scene to shoot was actually, well, one of two actually. Now that Mason's here, our first basketball day was really tough. Our first basketball day was really tough. That was a hard day, and I remember we were like running around for like 5 or 6 hours, and we had like I had like the biggest blisters on my toes. Like it hurt so bad. Or there's a scene I did for George inside of a car that was really sweet and nice, and I liked that one a lot. It's in 107, so you'll probably know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mine are definitely, in thinking about this, all of my favorite scenes, I was eating in them. So there's a scene where Michael and I eat sushi that I really like. There's a dinner scene that I really like. And then there's a grilled cheese scene that I quite like as well. Mason. Yeah.
Those are such great options. First of all, it was 8 hours on a basketball court because we had 2 different scenes to film. And that's definitely one of my favorites for sure, because Michael is such a fun person to work with, both in acting and also while playing basketball, because I'm better than he is. And so when we're filming basketball scenes, I just basically got a huge confidence boost. That being said, neither of us are. We're not great.
They're okay.
Well, I hope so. But I'd say probably my favorite scene to watch or get filmed is one that takes place on a Ferris wheel. That, again, without getting into spoilers, the actual process of filming it created so many memes amongst the cast that when I watch that scene, I'm like, it just reminds me of being there that night at like 3 a.m. filming this Ferris wheel scene for a great amount of time. But yeah, just the most memories there, I would say.
If you could choose one character other than your own that you could portray in this series, what character would it be? And this time, Mason, we can go backwards this time, Mason. I'll give you the chance.
If I could portray any other character, it would probably be. Is this in the realm of possibility? Because like, if I could have auditioned for Lake, I would have so done that.
Any character.
Oh, easy, Lake, because she gets. First of all, listen. Lake has, and BB does a phenomenal job of it, and I could never even hope to compare, but her wardrobe is always on point, and then the lines they give her, the little like quips that make her just so grating but also endearing, are so interesting to me, both as an artist and as just a fan of this type of YA, like high school content. It's the fast moving dialogue mixed with like just the coolest aesthetic. I was like, the Lake just got it. Plus, you never really know what's going on with Lake. She has a lot of dimensions, and I'm like, I could get behind
that. Oh wait, with me.
You actually don't get affected when we switch. Look at you.
I would. Okay, so. Yes, Lake as well. I think, well, the thing is, BB, she just does a great job. So it'd be watching her do it. It's like, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. But aside from Lake, I would say Pilar maybe, because she's so angsty, and I just, I miss that that brooding, young. I miss that. So maybe Pilar.
Pilar. Okay, I think this is obvious. I would definitely want to play Felix. Like, come on. I'm surprised you didn't say Felix, to be honest. Like, first off, Anthony kills that. Like, he slays Felix. Like, I definitely wouldn't be able to do as good of a job as him, but that being said, his job is really fun, so.
By the way, that is exactly why Felix and Pilar are so intimidating, is they're so specific that Anthony and Bella, I'm like, they could really only do those roles that well, that I'm like, I don't even think that, not that BB doesn't, she just makes it look intoxicating, as opposed to like Anthony's neurotic and Bella's badass sort of a style. It's a load to bear, certainly.
Yeah, no, definitely those would be some big shoes to fill, but
exactly, big shoes to fill.
But like, for lack of better terms, like that would definitely be the character I'd want to play, for sure.
I get that.
Next.
Trey, who would you play?
Oh,
Trey, who you got?
Actually,
probably Felix.
Really?
Probably.
Listen,
I probably wouldn't do a good job at it, but still.
Hey, listen.
He is fun. He is like, yeah.
Like, who wouldn't want to play the fun character? Like, just to have.
Yeah. He's funny. He's
also good looking, but that's probably just you and Anthony. That way you just get it on both angles.
So, what's something that you think that viewers will take away from the series that they didn't expect going into it?
All right, so are we going reverse order still, or are we going like flipping back around, or?
You can go first.
Okay. Sorry, Mason.
No, it's fine. I'm used to it. It's great.
I think, the message that me personally I want people to take away from this show is like just to be who you are, truly and authentically, and I think that's a message that's overarching throughout the whole entire series. I think that's a message that is very cut and clear throughout the whole show. So I'd really like people to receive that, honestly.
I would say kind of off that you don't have to fit into a box, and that you don't have to be one thing. You can be a bunch of things at once, and I think that's the beauty of humanity. That's the beauty of like growing up and evolving, is that you're like finding these little pieces of yourself that just like come together and make you. Yeah. be
like
shared.
that. No, it's actually very similar to what I actually think about the show, and that I just love, first and foremost, that the idea of not being entirely sure of who you are or where you fit in a certain culture dynamic speaks to all peoples everywhere, that whether or not you are finding yourself in the LGBT plus community, or whether you're Black or Hispanic or a bunch of things that people would like to label you, however you identify is important and has validation in that. And moreover, I guess off that same line of thought, in questioning that, you're still valid. You're valid to question who you are and what you like and who you like as time goes on. I mean, I question every day. Do you guys watch Never Have I Ever? You seen Darren? That looks great. And as you sort of navigate yourself and, you know, your interests, that realization that hopefully comes swiftly and, you know, timely as, you know, you get older, you realize that it's all right to be as true to yourself as, you know, you allow yourself to be. Which I think what Victor hopefully speaks to in spades. But again, you have to let me know.
National round for that answer, dang. Also, shout out to Darren, because Darren is so cool, bro. Like, I know Darren.
Is he?
Can I tell you a story? Darren was my first. Are we just making this about Darren? He was my. I did a pilot 5 years ago out here. It was called the Nicole Fire Project. I was fired along with everybody else in the cast, except for Nicole. But Darren played like my, I guess, boyfriend, and we had a really odd scene in a forest, and that was the first time we met, and it was very interesting.
That was the PG version of what could very well be a PG-13 story.
Yes.
Anyway, he's great. Yeah. Very happy for him.
I'm loving all the Darren anecdotes.
This is so.
We can go on. I got a few people that we can hash out right now. We'll get to that later.
So, my last question, since we're going through so much right now, what are some ways that you all have been practicing self-care? Because that's something that's definitely important and something to keep in mind as you know, reading the news, protesting, worrying about coronavirus, things like that.
Oh, that's a really good question, actually.
I'll go first if you listen. If you don't think you get.
Mason's like, well, I take care of myself. All right. Oh yeah, go ahead, Mason.
Okay, first of all, if you got a dog, I think that's self-care, like number one. I want a dog real badly, and I feel like that's a good way to sort of relieve yourself of any anxiety or stress. Moreover than that, kind of in line with the dog, is just getting out there and sort of allowing yourself to have that space and time to yourself outside. Obviously, wear a mask and be socially distant, but to give yourself the opportunity to exercise and get back in tune with your body and your personality, ideally with a dog by your side, I think is probably a pretty good, at least ground level start to understanding and feeling like that self-care is coming back into your life.
Yeah, exercise, I feel, or like just moving is like just a great way to release. I've also been growing some vegetables and fruit, and that's been like a nice thing to that makes me feel good. I feel like I'm raising children, and that helps me. What? Okay. Yeah, and then I guess like talking to people that you love and that like you can vent to, I think is also good, because we need to like be able to let things out, especially since we're all cooped up and alone for the most part.
Yeah. Well, if self-care is about the number of animals you have, I have 4. So I think I'm taking care of myself real good. But other than that, like, I don't know, like, I think music has kind of been like a really good outlet for me during this time, and like kind of trying to expand my mind in that way. You know, I think also just cooking, like that is my self-care. I love to eat, and like food is my favorite vice. But like, you know, just like eating with my family and like spending time with them throughout all of this was definitely really important, and it's honestly helped me not only helped me like get out of like kind of like a rut I was in before quarantine, and now I feel like I'm way more well-rounded, you know?
Oh, good.
Cooking for sure.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Those are some awesome tips, especially the I've been thinking about getting more plants and like growing things too. So I definitely
You should get
do that.
You're in New York, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, a little herb garden. I just moved from New York. I was there for a while. But you should get like a little, my friend is also growing mushrooms. You can get these mushroom kits and they just grow out of the box. It's so awesome. I know that sounds weird, but that's how it works.
Or mushrooms, yeah.
Rachel's talking about magic mushrooms.
No, guys, just the ones that you
that you can grow.
Go for it.
No, yeah. Real.